powdery fistfuls of dusty beignets, a man or a woman, one who transcends the quay, slips between a mahogany song and praise for the sycophant tourists, who sip on their coffees and act like the Irish. Café du Monde is true to its name. There are birds much deeper into the swamp of the French Quarter, who flitter like wind chimes knocking against the blow of trees, all of which are encased with the violets and mosses and golds of spherical piss-stained charms. They fall into the gutter to be forgotten about each spring. Pterodactyl wings fight the Mardi Gras air. The blackness of their faces are moving pieces of night, and the beads glow, not nearly as bright as the eccentric and foul-smelling Bourbon streets. There is an unfriendly conversation between the street performers and the clubs, and the tourist traps, and African religion. It is rushed but slow. You feel queasy, and yet the tempo of the trumpet keeps you on your feet, invites you to stay. There is bitter ice cream and a boy of 10 who, instead of eating, is playing a percussion instrument. There is a horse every so often, and many polite and terrifying Americans alike. Some streetcars even cycle into the night, passing each palm tree with no purpose. In the darkest and longest of summer nights, you can even ride one, the jingles and steel cluttering like a nervous surgeon, all the more intense in the dark. Silence is a thing of pre-colonialism. There's not one vehicle, even one that is stationary, that is silent. A car alarm, a dickhead motorcyclist, and even more women yelling in the street. The amalgamated city begins to slow in Lafayette. Though the homes are larger than you had ever seen, undoubtedly with a guilty past, the impression of New Orleans makes a diminuendo. On the contrary, there is a smear of a hurricane on the city, and only such disaster could muffle the echoes of a cacophony just 2 miles away. The fields of grey and dead, which awake with the morning stretch into the bayou, go on, long like a jazz song. On the upside down of the French market, which is not only lively but a place of rebirth, is decay and limbo. The depiction of swampy hell is not to be attributed as a hell, if it weren't for the scaly devil who is not even suited to the Mississippi Delta, Abel the alligator. Way past Bourbon Street, past the parades and the living, are the tales of nuns and an alike guilty secret to the sugar mansions, the poor women in the roofs, the lucky people on the streets. Around here is where the birds who, as a matter of fact, are not just bats but people, gather and muse upon the foolish tourists or the naive children, as if they were overseeing the Last Supper. The French Quarter is not exempt from the weight of history, but is bound by it in ropes and chains, and in spite of this still blooms every March.